Hey everybody, Dustin DePurek here, columnist Andy Graham,
Yep.
in the press box at Ross-Ade Stadium after the Bucket Game 2012. And as was once said by someone on Anchorman, that one escalated quickly, and it took an unfortunate turn for Indiana, very much so. Indiana goes down 56-35 to Purdue. Purdue is bowl eligible. Purdue finds itself in a very awkward situation with Danny Hope, whatever they're going to do with that.
He may or may not be coaching them in the bowl.
We'll see. We'll see. He might be coached tomorrow. He might not be. He might not be coached by Monday, or he might be coached by December and go coach in a bowl game. Who knows? You never know how they make these decisions anyway. But Indiana finishes 2012 with a 4-8 record and a 2-6 conference mark after 3 games in a row where they gave up at least 45 points. And really, sort of after going into the Wisconsin game with a chance to win the Leaders Division, they lose them all in a row, and they lose them pretty badly. This
gave
one,
42 in the second half today.
yeah, 42 in the second half. Yeah, it was. Well, I had just looked at that in that stark of terms. And another game where they gave up just tons of yards. What do we? Grand total is 558. 558, 158 yards of offense. I think they've given up well over 500 for each of the last 3 weeks. And that's not what you want to see. Basically, Andy, just go at it. What went wrong today?
Tackling is a big issue and has been for a while. I mean, and I think some of the Indiana people talking to him after the game acknowledged that seemingly the defense kind of hit a wall. Maybe the whole team did to an extent.
Yeah.
And sometimes young teams do that. And if that happens, when a team puts something into it and really gives it a full effort, every day for a long period of time. Sometimes it's hard to sustain through a long season. I don't want to make excuses for them, but they look tired. They were making tackles in midseason. They looked like they were making strides towards adequacy defensively in midseason.
Right.
And
they were never good. There was never a point that you could have called this a good defense.
That's why
but you definitely looked at it and said, okay, they're making progress.
They were
the last 3 weeks you didn't see that.
They were aspiring to adequacy, and they didn't attain that, and then they really fell off. It's just not acceptable, really. It's not something that I think Kevin Wilson will accept. I mean, they'll look really hard at what they do. They'll recruit hard, but they'll look hard at what they do from a coaching standpoint and from a personnel standpoint, and try and figure something out because this isn't going to cut it. They have to at least play adequate defense if they want to go where they want to go as a program. Offensively, they're going to be pretty good most of the time. I mean, Indiana had over 500 yards of offense today also, and that's with committing 4 turnovers and, once again, getting inconsistent quarterbacking, among other things. And so I think this offense is going to score. They bring back nearly everybody on their 2-deep chart offensively, and they bring all but 5 of them back another year after that.
Right.
And so they're gonna mature and score, and part of it will have to do with maturation on defense too, physically. As I said, I think they kind of hit a wall. I really do. That's what it looked like to me. Just sort of physically, emotionally, whatever, they kind of hit a wall because this Purdue offense was not nearly as good as Indiana helped make it look today. Purdue didn't score a point in the second quarter. We're dropping passes, looked pretty fragile, actually. And then Indiana just gift wrapped, I don't know how many plays in the second half where there just were receivers running with no defenders around. And there were so many tackles missed, and fairly routine tackles missed. I mean, tackles where guys had legitimate shots at people and then just didn't wrap, and didn't really keep their head up, and didn't really drive through it, just didn't do any of that. And so that really has to change at some point. They have to get to a place where defensively they have people on the field that are doing those basic things every play.
Yeah, no, I mean, that kind of says it all. I mean, it is just basics. I mean, they're just basic failures. Where they're in position to make plays in a lot of cases.
Most of the time, they got schemed.
They did get schemed a few times. I mean, the big play that really blew them up was a phenomenally well schemed play.
Yeah.
Basically, just
the belly fake.
The belly fake. They went out.
Yeah.
They looked the opposite way. Everybody went right. Akeem Shaver slipped out left, and there was nobody there.
Well,
now,
Akeem
Shaver's also stiff-armed a guy.
That was a good one too,
Yeah, Akeem Shaver's also stiff-armed a guy in the face, directly in the face, I don't know how that's not a face mask.
Well, no, it's offensively, no, you can do that. I mean, offensively, you can stiff your hand right in the face, which is not good for defenders, but that's part of how the rules are written these days.
Yeah, well, no, they got him pretty good. But one way or another, 73-yard touchdown, I think, was really what killed them. Indiana. Purdue had pinned itself. We said Purdue. We used the word Indiana pinned them at the one. Purdue pinned itself for the one. Basically, they had a kick returner who really dropped the ball about 4 times. You know, like we tried to catch it in the end zone. It fell off of him, went off his leg to the one. He kept trying to pick it up, couldn't pick it up, and got tackled at the one. And so there's Purdue. Indiana had just tied the game at 35. And, Indiana has a chance to just make something happen, just change the field around at the very least, and really kind of take control. Purdue managed to get out of the shadow of its own end zone, and then that play happened, 73-yard touchdown play. And immediately after that, Cam Kaufman throws a second pick. Now, it was only partially his fault. It was still partially his fault. He threw the ball at Teddy Bullzer. Bullzer got a hand on it, and then it got kicked up in the air and ended up getting picked off. And then Purdue scores again, and they're up 2 touchdowns. And from there, it's just, kind of the wheels sort of fell off.
Bullzer saved him an interception one time, too, by the way.
He did, yeah.
Might have been Indiana's best defensive play of the day.
He did. The ball was up in the air, Bullzer got a paw on it. Purdue guy almost caught it. Bullzer hit the guy really, really hard, and that was not another pick. But, you mentioned we can beat up on the defense all day, and there's plenty to say because, again, lots of missed tackling, lots of basics. And they all acknowledge that Greg Eben acknowledges a lot and just says, it's failed tackling really fell off the last couple of months. Cam Kaufman has had a couple rough weeks. Mm-hmm. He's had more than a few rough weeks. I mean, you do got to give him credit to say, he has, in a position where he was only expected to be a backup, he has been serviceable most of the year. Has made some good throws. Yardage.
He made some plays today too.
He did. He made a lot of plays today. Yardage numbers look nice.
But he's very inconsistent.
The picks lately have been a lot.
He's very inconsistent.
He threw for 348 yards and a touchdown, but that's on 53 passes. Completed 31, but he threw 3 picks, and those were killer. In this game, those were killer. I think there have been certain games where he's thrown picks that haven't come back to bite him. These ones pretty much all did, in some way, shape, or form. And obviously, one I think got taken back or close to it. He had to tackle a guy at the 6.
Deep, right?
So those really kind of changed the game around. It's still going to be an interesting competition next year. I mean, as much as I think Trey's a really good player. I think my level, I still have a level of skepticism. I still want to, I saw him throw the ball really well against Indiana State at the beginning of the year. I'm sure he's a much, much better passer than I remember from last year. And I've seen him make a lot of strides, and it was obviously made strides against Indiana State. I'm interested to see what kind of quarterback he looks like for an entire year, especially coming off a broken leg, and how all that's going to be. And obviously, Nate Sudfeld with a year of seasoning is not going to go away quietly. If there's going to be a competition. It's going to be an interesting competition either way. But Cam Kaufman's got some stuff to shake off after this. I mean, he's got to sort of take some of these throws that he's made in the last couple of weeks out of everybody's memory if he wants to be the guy. And it's going to be difficult for any of the three of them to be the guy. But I think Trey obviously has the inside track. Wilson obviously looks at him like the starter. He won the gig in the preseason. He looks at him as, I guess, the best leader right now. Right now today. So, Roberson's the guy that's got to be out ahead. But Kaufman obviously has the experience of having thrown for a whole bunch of yards and started this many games this year. He's going to get a real and legitimate look, and based on some of, late game heroics Sudfeld had, he's going to get a look too. It's going to be an interesting situation. But Kaufman, really to keep the backup job, or win the starting job, has really got to show a lot and kind of take a lot from what happened in the last few weeks. Of this season and improve on it and find a way to get past that, because I mean his greatest skill is supposed to be his intelligence, his ability to manage the game, his ability to always make the right throw, and on more than a few occasions today you did not see that happen. Obviously he overthrew one, threw into double coverage for one of the picks. Again, there was the Bullzer interception that was kind of off of him, but there was also another pick that just got jumped, and he probably should have been able to not either throw that ball someplace else or
it was 4th down,
but telegraph the way.
Right. I mean, they had just run the same pattern, and he stared it down, and the guy jumped it. And at that point, it's 4th down, so you got to pull the ball back and look for somebody else because that's not there. And you have to be able to see that, and you have to look for another option. Maybe there isn't one, so maybe you tuck it and run to try and get it, but you just don't throw it to the guy there. But look, Trey's the guy. Trey's the guy. I mean, we don't know how the offseason will go in terms of his rehab and how ready he'll be in the spring and how much progress he'll have made in terms of reading defenses and throwing on the side and how sharp he might be. But presuming he's healthy going into the spring and then at least the 7-on-7 stuff in the summer, I would be very surprised if it isn't Trey. Actually, from what I've seen, I think Sudfeld will have a legit shot. Kaufman, as you say, is going to have to overcome some things, but there's no reason he can't. I mean, he's young too. I mean, he'll get older and stronger, and he'll watch film, and he's a smart kid. All these guys are smart guys, and so they'll learn. But I think, just talking to people, I think Trey is going to be the guy unless something surprising happens. With the possibility, I think Sudfeld has a big upside. Yeah. Sudfeld's the kind of guy that could really improve.
Improved a lot just from kind of like week 1 to week 2.
And so he might provide an option too. I mean, but it'll be interesting to see how Kevin handles it in the offseason and how the guys react. And there's a lot going into this Indiana offseason, and there won't be quite as much momentum now after the last 3 or so weeks.
Yeah, that was something I want to address in more length, but it's 11 minutes, so we're going to have to cut it off. But after building a lot in the middle part of this season, Indiana, obviously, there was the last 2 weeks you thought, they're playing powerhouse programs. Losing to those is not necessarily much to be ashamed of, but giving up 56 to Purdue, it's not the way you want to end it.
But it didn't have to happen because it wasn't that good.
Not the way you want to end it. But anyway, thanks, guys.